Damn.
How to make a poor man's Diluc build.
What I do recognize from most builds on YouTube and online that you can find, it involves getting a very specific sword, which is the Wolf's Gravestone. So this is the Wolf's Gravestone, right? Mind you, you can only get this Claymore weapon on the gacha rolls, and it is 5-star, right? So the chances of you getting the Diluc and this sword is pretty slim. And I don't know, even if you get an occasion that you do get it, it's probably far off from now. So what kind of weapon can you get or use right now to replace the Wolf's Gravestone for the time being? If you're like me and you don't have the luck of the gods and don't want to spend too much money in this game, what I have right now is a poor man's Diluc team build, or a build in general, with a set of artifacts and a sword that you guys can grind for free.
The weapon.
So my Diluc right now is level 80 and my adventure rank is 41, I think. I am currently running on is the prototype Animus. And this is a really good sword to just have in general, besides having the Wolf's Gravestone, because of the crush stat, where on hit, normal, or charge attacks have 50% chance to deal an additional 300% attack damage to enemies within a small AoE and can only occur once every 15 seconds. So the sword itself already has a really good base attack, and as you upgrade it more, the attack percentage would constantly go up. So dealing 300% more attack damage, especially when it's a area effect stat, it can deal massive damage, and it can sufficiently replace getting the Wolf's Gravestone. So you can get the sword from the blacksmith, just talk to him, blah blah blah, I'd like something to get made, and this is the sword, right? And what you need from this is a Northlander Claymore prototype that is dropped by bosses, meaning that it's either dropped by Storm Terror or the Wolf, I think. And you need 50 of Crystal Chunk and 50 of White Iron Chunk. So it's not that hard to craft a sword. What you can do though is, as you play the game a little bit more, you will eventually encounter NPCs that actually sells this for a specific currency. So when you're crafting the prototype Animus, I recommend you to have enough materials to make 2 of them. You don't have to necessarily, but what I did was I made sure I had enough materials to make 2 of them, so I can refine it to refinement rank 2. And it jumps from 240% attack damage to 300% attack damage, which is a lot. The best part about this sword is that it's craftable, right? So you can keep on making them, and it's a lot easier than the other swords that you get from the gacha to refine it. So you can keep on refining it, where the stats would just be crazy high. And the only things that you really need to get in order to keep on refining it is the prototypes that are being dropped by the bosses. So one easy way of getting the prototype Claymore is by going to Liyue Harbor, and you go to Xingxi, and she sells the prototype Claymore that you can easily get just by 225 Geo Sigil. And you can get this currency just by playing the game a little bit more. You'll find them everywhere in the map, and you're just going to keep on getting them as you do quests and dailies.
The cheap weapon.
Let's say that you're pretty early in the game, but as you were doing your beginner rolls, you actually got the Diluc. So what's a good alternative, or what's a good beginner Claymore weapon that you can have early game until you get into a little bit later in the late game where you can able to get this the prototype Animus, right? In my opinion, the best 3-star weapon that you can easily get on early game is the Debate Club. I know it looks really ugly, but the stats, right? Blunt conclusion. After using an elemental skill, normal or charge attacks deal an additional 120% attack damage within a small radius on hit. And the effect lasts 15 seconds, and damage can only occur once every 3 seconds. So I have the Debate Club Refinement Rank 5, which is the max, because it's a 3-star claymore, and it's really easy to just get a lot of it. And this is not exclusive to Diluc. This is a really good claymore for any characters that uses claymore. The Bait Club is basically a cheaper version of the prototype Eminus. So if you're early in the game, if you're the beginner, I would recommend you to use this weapon until you have enough materials to craft the prototype Eminus.
The artifacts.
For the artifacts, as you may already know from most of the online guides and YouTube videos on how to build Diluc when it comes to artifacts, the best artifact that you can get for Diluc is the Crimson Witch of Flames. From the set bonuses, the 2-piece set, pyro damage bonus, 15%, and 4-piece set increases overloaded and burning damage by 40%, increases vaporize and melt damage by 15%, and using an elemental skill increases 2-piece set effects by 50% for 10 seconds, and it can stack 3 times. So it's definitely this build, this artifact set is literally built for Diluc because he has an elemental skill that he can use 3 times. So just stacking that, just 150% more damage for pyro damage for the 2-piece set, that's a lot of damage. You can get the set by going to your Adventures Handbook and clicking on Domains, and on the domains, the palace that you want to go for grinding that artifact is the Hidden Palace of Zol. And as you can see, it drops the Crimson Witch of Flames and also the 5-star version of the Crimson Witch of Flames. I don't recommend you guys to be grinding for artifacts if you're not already Adventure Rank 40. Mostly because it's not worth it for grinding when you're below Adventure Rank 40. Once you hit Adventure Rank 40, you will have the chance of getting 5-star artifacts. And the 5-star artifacts, you're able to upgrade it to 20 instead of 16 versus the 4-star ones. And the 5-star artifacts has better stats. So the best artifact stats for Diluc is this right here. So the flower and the feather is can't be changed. It will always be HP and attack. But the best substats that you want for your flower and the feather to have is attack percentage, crit rate, and crit damage. So either of these two, having these sort of substats are really good. Some substats that are pretty much useless that you don't want is, for example, HP and defense. But when you're grinding artifacts, you want to have these substats for your flower and your feather. And for this case, the timepiece, the goblet, and the crown. The timepiece you want to have attack percentage, and the goblet you want pyro damage bonus, and for the crown you want crit damage. And of course, you also want these 3 artifacts to have these sort of substats. You don't have to specifically aim for these stats and substats, because at the end of the day, it's a gacha game, so you probably not get what you want. So the main goal of these artifacts is that you want to have a really good crit damage to crit rate ratio. And how you can find that out is by going to your character and clicking on details. So sometimes it really doesn't matter of like how good your attack is, your base attack. What you really want is to have a really good ratio between crit rate and crit damage. In my case, I have a really good percentage of crit rate, which is around 52%. So half the time when I'm doing damage, I would be doing crit damage. And in my case, I need to work on my crit damage because it's not as high as I want to be. So right now, crit damage is 75%, right? And it's not bad for my ratio, but I recommend you guys to go for something similar to this, to like 50% crit rate to even like 100% crit damage. You don't have to worry about the how much base attack you are doing, because if you have a really high crit damage and a really high crit rate, you're often doing more damage than what it says on paper.
Diluc's harem.
This is the team that I'm running with Diluc right now. Official, Shanling, and Barbara. I have official because she is easily one of the best support characters in the game because of her elemental skill. She summons her Raven Oz, and Oz shoots lightning and supports Diluc on doing overload damage. And doing overload damage benefits Diluc a lot because of his artifact of Crimson Witch of Flames. And I'm running Shanling because running 2 fire characters gives you the elemental resonance, which affected by cryo for 40% less time and increases attack by 25%. So I'm having Shanling in the field because she, in my opinion, is the best fire support character right now, and just having her gives the entire team a 25% boost when it comes to attack. And lastly, I have Barbara, just because she is the healer of the team. So this team is pretty strong against for exploration and even fighting bosses, but not specifically bosses that are the fire type. Some of these roles can be changed. For example, if you have Chi-Chi, you can easily replace Barbara with Chi-Chi. Or let's say you don't have Shanling, you can replace Shanling with either Bennett or Amber. But don't use Amber. And for Fischl, it's hard to replace her role because she is one of the best support characters in the game. But you can replace her with Venti or Mona. But in my opinion, Fischl beats both of them when it comes to support and giving Diluc additional damage. Damn, 24k? Okay.